I'm quite happy for people to be unmuted if you'd like that, so people can ask questions as we go.
There you go. Everyone's unmuted.
Okay. If you end up with a fair bit of noise in your background, just mute yourself. You can do that on your own computers.
Yeah, or I'll mute.
Okay. Joe, you'll sort it out.
Sorry.
Yep.
Well,
Good.
good morning. And thanks to some of our guests. So Diane's come in to have a look at Collective Heart. I think Diane, you somehow know Leslie.
Yes.
Okay.
Business club.
Okay, wonderful. Oh, it's raining here. And Leslie's been, I guess, roped in. Leslie Peters, that is, not Leslie Slevin. Leslie Peters has been roped in to help Jody and Raz and the team put together some information for the Sleep Out for Soul, which Collective Heart is now managing, which wasn't going ahead about a month ago, and now it's going ahead with a lot of vigor. So we'll be talking a little bit about that today. Jody, can you just slide over to the next page of the slides, please?
I can indeed.
So welcome Leslie, welcome John, welcome all of our guests, and I'll talk a little bit about the way Collective Heart works at the end of this morning. So just a reminder of our mission statement: to be a community of people who empower each other to love others through acts of service, kindness, and generosity. We're not really an advocacy group. We're just getting out there trying to be helpful wherever it feels right to be helpful. Just to recap the last catch up that we had, one of the suggestions or one of the things that came along in terms of what we could potentially do was just dropping a note in our neighbours' letterboxes if we felt that they were in a vulnerable situation or could do with some support. We decided to do that here ourselves with three of the older residents of the area, and we received text messages and phone calls the following day from all of them and from these people's children, just expressing how grateful they were that someone in the neighbourhood was there to help. I was a bit nervous in the sense of I might have ended up with a long list of jobs to do, but that hasn't happened. In fact, what did happen is I received a text the other day saying, I think you've left your outside light on. So it's a beautiful example of how, the donor becomes the beneficiary. The one who gives is the one who receives. So it was such a simple act, and it was probably something that we would have never have done had it not actually been for the social restrictions that have come from the coronavirus situation. So sometimes we might feel that we're constrained in how to fulfill our mission statement, but this is just an example that there's a way. Sometimes you just need to look. And I'd just like to say, if we didn't receive phone calls and text messages of gratitude, it wouldn't have mattered. Okay, it was just that at least these people knew that there was somebody that if they were stuck or they needed some support, there was somebody that has their back. So I think sometimes culturally we're not as close to our neighbours as perhaps we were many years ago, but we can break those boundaries down just with those sorts of simple acts. So that's a bit of a recap on last breakfast. The other thing that we talked about, or we talked with Rick Prosser from Soul Cafe, and they talked about the challenges that they have pending with the potential growth in the homeless community, unfortunately. And one of the big fundraisers for Soul Cafe is the Sleep Out for Soul, which had been cancelled for 2020. But you'll learn more about that in about maybe 20 minutes time. That's not cancelled, it's just taken a different form, and Collective Heart's proud to be managing and facilitating that going ahead. So you can see on the screen that we'll be talking about that, but we'll be talking with John Sandy from Dara Refugee Hub prior to that. And we'll also be looking at a little bit of what's happening up at Malapai, which is the group in the Philippines that we offer some support to. There'll be a lot more information on that in a month's time, but there's a couple of decisions to make sooner rather than later. And then we'll talk about the schedule for coming up. All right, so let's catch up with John. So where are you, John? There you are, John. So, so what I'd really appreciate is if you can give us maybe a 10-minute update in terms of what's going on with the families that you're supporting. I can imagine that there's been quite a few challenges. Maybe amongst those challenges, there's been some examples of, you know, or courage or wonderful examples of human spirit. Maybe there's been some examples of despair. If you can just share with us a little bit about what's going on, maybe for 10 minutes. And Collective Heart issued a payment to yourself to help out with the families last week. So guys, we had $1,500 allocated to assist the refugee community. It hadn't been allocated just yet, but following some communication recently, we have allocated it now to the refugee community through Dara. So we'll be looking for an update from yourself, John, on that, if you can do that for us, please, mate.
Yeah. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Greg, for all your support. Collective Heart team members, we really appreciate your support to Refugee Hub. I have with me here Rob. As I said, Rob is our new manager for Dara.
Morning.
Morning, Rob.
Yeah. So I just want to highlight what really happens this year, at the beginning of this year. The beginning of this year, actually, Collective Hearts donated 30 soccer boots to Refugee Hub Soccer Project. And 17 young people benefited from that soccer boot. But unfortunately, soccer didn't go on because of the COVID. So that's the side of it. And we really appreciate those soccer boots really benefited those young people and their families. And recently, due to the COVID, Dara currently has 15 people who are really, really struggling survival due to the COVID. And then those are the people we are actually working with: asylum seekers, domestic violence, family, and all those who are really impacted by the COVID. So as I speak to you right now, we have 15 clients who are really in dire need of food and financing. They are struggling, and their life is really has impacted on them. We have an Iranian lady here who is on a visa, temporary visa, protection visa, and studying at the university. Her husband was supporting the family by casual work, and the family are not eligible to government assistance. And due to the COVID, the husband has lost the casual job, and they have 2 children. So we are really targeting this family. We are supporting them with food as well as finances because they are really, really struggling. We also have another family from Fiji. They are asylum seekers. They are not working. Mom is not working. Mom is pregnant. Husband has lost job due to the husband is not eligible to any government welfare and no working permit with 2 children. So that's another aspect of our clients' issues there. We have another lady who was escaping from domestic violence from Philippines on temporary visa, also not eligible for Centrelink, staying at home with friends and does not have job. We also have this referral from another refugee man from Syria who has been separated from his family. He is isolated, not having enough money from this welfare system, and is also in dire need of support.
So just while John's changing page, so you can see there's a bit of a theme where a lot of our refugees and recent arrivals seem to get some employment, but it's largely casual. And as a result of this COVID, all that casual work's pretty much dried up. The issue for them is that there's no eligibility for Commonwealth benefits in a lot of cases, which is exacerbating some of the trauma that they experienced in moving to this country. And also in terms of, we've had sadly some increases in domestic violence in this group.
Thanks, Rob. As I said to you, Shirley, another asylum seeker, single mom with children, no income, is sharing accommodation, domestic violence survivor, bridging visa, no income, no family, and mental health issues. Another lady with 9 children, struggling with support the whole family, school clothing, toys, house needs renovations, pregnant. So, in brief, in summary, we have 15 of them that we are really at this time in stage supporting them, and there are lots of trauma going on with them. So, Dara is working in partnership with Oz Harvest. So Oz Harvest deliver food every Mondays and Tuesdays. So we pack those foods, we pack those vegetables, and some of those foods lack rice. The families need dry foods like rice, biscuits, chocolates. So we give them those vouchers to buy those stuff of things added to the vegetables. That happens every Tuesdays and Fridays. So every Tuesday we receive food from Oz Harvest and distribute it to these families. And so, Rob.
And it goes without saying, thank you so much for your donation. I can assure you that every red cent of that is going directly to support. It's not funding any Catholic Care or Dara administration. So you can see where it's going in terms of the face-to-face support that John, and we've obviously had to practice safe home visiting and safe food drop-offs. So we've got protocols in place to ensure the safety of the people we support and our staff. But every red cent of that is going into things like financial support, food support, and then we refer families on to other relevant services. Just as another side, our clinical services is offering some clinical support to those that are experiencing trauma and need a bit of counselling and support.
Can I just ask a question there, John and Rob? In terms of the Oz Harvest food contribution, is that adequate for these families' needs, or do you need to top that up?
We had before COVID, we were supporting 3 families with Oz Harvest. Currently, it's 15, as John's alluded to. Mm-hmm. Oz Harvest is fabulous, but and the supply perversity in COVID's been really good. So you got a pallet load last week.
Yeah.
But we can't guarantee that we'll get everything for everybody all the time. Yeah. And nor should we, I guess, to be proper to Oz Harvest. So, but they're a fabulous partner. But we're grateful for what we get, and I guess we kind of make do in terms of giving out, distributing to families in need. John's alluded to the other sort of practical issue is we've got about 6 families who've got sibling groups or family groups of more than 6. So I think anyone that's experiencing grocery shopping in COVID could appreciate a single mum with 6 kids trying to do the grocery shop with social isolation, and then the shortage, and then the need for them to actually buy groceries that satiate the needs of a family of 7. So we've been able to top up some of those people as well in terms of avoiding the need to take their children to grocery shopping, which for some is inescapable.
And in regards to technology, you know, a lot of kids at the moment are being schooled from home, and it's quite in a way it's essential that they have access to technology, to internet, to things like this, to Zoom. I assume for some of your families it's hard for them to have adequate technological resources.
Yep, Matt, you're right. We have those issues coming up.
We put the word out through the Catholic Diocese. Just Dara is part of the Catholic Diocese of Newcastle, people should know. And we got donated
4
laptops And then we've talked to those kids that are in state school system, and the school system's also been able to provide some work from home laptops. We've got one sitting in front of us at the minute ready to go. So we've been supplying those to families, but obviously some of those are hot items for one amongst 5 kids. So to be able to do some online learning from that.
Yep.
So if any of our members have laptops hanging around which that they've upgraded from, would something like that be helpful?
Absolutely. Just ring John.
Okay. And would we need to have those laptops cleaned, or or is that something you guys would?
And we've got an IT technician that can assist in that process. So
okay.
To clean up all the files that you need.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So 15 families. You said you have clinical services, so that assists with people dealing with trauma or, I guess, mental health effects of maybe losing job, not having income, being fearful about being able to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Are there any other pressing needs that are sitting there at the moment? I don't know if you get much more pressing than food and education issues, but is there anything else that you're seeing there which?
Matt, at a practical level, I guess the clinical stuff, we probably need to remind ourselves that these people, this group of people have experienced trauma often in their countries of origin and moved to Australia for that reason. So we're mindful of reigniting or re-emerging trauma that's unresolved from there as well. I guess the practical stuff like the large family gatherings and stuff, we're trying to manage and educate people. I mean, I myself don't personally kind of understand COVID or flattening curve. Everyone's an epidemiologist now, but it's certainly confusing for people where English is not their first language. So we've been getting some translation and interpreters around so that people really understand the significance and the need for social distancing and washing your hands, and the reason why there's shortages in food supply, or there was not so much now, I guess. So there's been a lot of that family or casework support, for want of a better word, that John does. We've also got Dara's got a food delivery service where we deliver pre-cooked meals to community. So that's certainly ramped up in its numbers of meals produced, and its request for service, I think, is growing every day by 3 or 4 new service recipients that want food delivered. So.
Yeah, well, when we caught up with Rick from Soul Cafe, who, I guess similar but different in terms of food support, they were expecting an increase as well.
Yeah, very, very similar. We do a lot of collaborative stuff with Rick.
Yeah, okay. So the money we issued last week, so you said some support with food. Is there some financial gifting as well there to assist with, I guess, utility bills and those sorts of things that people would be attempting to meet?
Yep. There are lots of issues around utility bills. Last week, I spoke to one of the clients who I dropped food to, and she explained to me how she's really struggling with bills and food and for the kids. And she's struggling with all those financial issues to get medicines for the kids. So there's need there's a great need for support with those kind of things.
So we were mostly our service provision goes to supplying some additional food for large families. For things like utilities and stuff, we're also mindful that we refer to places like Samaritans. Yeah. It's got emergency relief, so they've got funding to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's all by eligibility and criteria. So our focus has been to engage with families to make sure they're not isolated, to make sure there's whatever food that we can provide through OzHarvest and through great donations from organisations like yourselves to assist them.
And can you talk to us a little bit about, and I guess there's a little bit of a risk in this question that we might experience a bit of doom and gloom here, but there's also a risk that we might see some positivity. What's the outlook like the families you're looking after? They are in difficult times at this point in time. Have they gone into pessimism and a lot of fear, or is there hopefulness? You know, what's the balance there? You know, I was working with some people last week and they were really quite somber about, you know, not having social connection and the prospects. And then I saw them yesterday and there was quite a shift in terms of their outlook. You know, I'm not trying to predict what the situation is from that perspective, but I am curious.
Yep.
So sometimes adversity can surprise us in what it brings out in people. Where are they up? Where are they up to?
So there's a bit of fear, as you said, as you likely said, there's a bit of fear with the current COVID crisis with the families that we support. As I speak to you, we have this conversation on the telephone. They will speak to me about how they are isolated, how they are uncertain what is going on, even though they are getting information, a lot of information about the COVID, and especially for their kids. And also the mere fact that these people are really not having the chance now to socialize, to meet in the churches, in the groups, is really an issue for them. Yeah. Okay,
so that interaction and that connection which you've been working on, you can see in this group not in exclusivity, but this group does benefit a lot from that interaction.
Yeah.
Okay, so going forward, on that note, it looks like some of these social restrictions are starting to ease. You know, I'm not forecasting that that's going to be, you know, as a linear progression back to what we might call normality. But I understand, John, that you are proposing for your bike safety workshop group.
Yep.
So what's happening with that?
Currently, as I speak to you, I'm developing the plan for the bike safety workshop, but more so the English conversation class, which is one of the programs that has been impacted by the COVID. And I'm still negotiating with the schools, with SFX, the volunteers, to come on board, how we can come up with ideas and ways to start the English conversation, whether it's going to be on Zoom, online, or whatever way. We're still having that conversation ongoing. I can understand the teachers are so busy now, the volunteers, everybody's busy, but that's the plan that is happening now. We are trying to re-engage with the English program. And Rob, you can talk about that.
Certainly in terms of our volunteers overall, our kind of cohort of volunteers is those that are in the autumn of their lives, I'll call it. So they're slightly older and therefore under COVID slightly more vulnerable. So certainly in some of our food delivery services, we've noticed quite rightly a drop-off in volunteer provision. That's not to say they're absolutely not interested and committed, but they've quite rightly got their own health issues to consider. So we're running some bare bones volunteers, particularly for the Dara food delivery service that Baden Ellis runs. But in terms of John's stuff for the bike club, that's a partnership with the University of Newcastle, and we're hoping that on Friday that Prime Minister announces some more softening of the guidelines, which will hopefully increase safe interactions.
So let's cross our fingers that progresses and the health of the community remains and retains as well. So the bike safety workshop, do you have a proposed date?
It normally happens in the school holidays in July. Last year, it happens on the 12th of July. So we're still hanging on to that date. Let's fingers crossed that things will be eased by then. And so it's in July. And as I speak to you now, we have 9 young people now who have already registered with us for the bike safety workshop, and 4 men.
Do you need some push bikes?
Yeah, we need some push bikes. We need some bikes, accessories, whatever stuff, helmets, and money for the sponsoring of the training. And
So if anybody has some push bikes hanging around at home that they don't use anymore, or some helmets, or some, I don't know, bike shorts. Don't know about bike shorts actually. We might not, maybe we don't do the bike shorts, but we might find some other biking accessories. Amongst the group. That would be helpful.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah.
And the English conversation program, I know some of our members have expressed interest in assisting with this previously. What's your strategy there, or what have you come up with, or how was it set up before COVID?
So we have this group of volunteers from the teachers from SFX who are the volunteers. So it happens every Tuesday afternoon from 4:30 to 7:30. And so we have volunteers from the schools who comes in and then do the practical English stuff to families.
Mm-hmm.
That goes on for an hour. And at 6:30 to 7:30, we have the barbecue, which is socialization, and then just that engagement to listen to their needs, what the things they're struggling with. And if there's any issues they're struggling with during those conversations, we take note of that and then hand them over to our caseworkers who work alongside with them to address those issues. And as I speak to you, we have 43 members, 43 families registered with the English Conversation Program at Dara Refugee Hub.
And are you open to volunteers who maybe don't have a background in English teaching?
Yep. We're open to those volunteers. We don't only need volunteers from English speaking background. We need men, we need women who can just come around and smile, make friendship with those men and families. That socialization is really significant with the English program, where they can make friends, they build their confidence, build their self-worth, all those sort of things match along very well. So we don't only need volunteers who can just come and teach them English. We need volunteers who can just come and sit down with them, smile, socialize with them, ask them about their families, just being there as a friend. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So keep us posted when you can get that back functioning again. I suspect there's probably a few people from Collective Heart which would like to come and interact and meet some new friends and learn. There's so much we can learn from each other.
Yeah, it's a two-way thing.
Yeah. Okay.
One of their cooking days that they have, it's fabulous. You can see that I need a weight loss program. I think it's from enjoying the beautiful food delivered by our refugee families.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with enjoying good food. I think they might get a few more people across the line, actually, Rob. We have talked about that quite a bit. Often there's the perception that the locals should be going off and explaining to, say, a person from a refugee background how they should be doing things, whereas there's so much that the local could go to somebody who come from a different background, and we could learn so much about whether it's cooking or culture or different ways to interact or play games. So that real kind of learn, being open to learn as much as, having this idea that we're just in the seat of teaching.
Yeah. Kathy, Care and Dara have long-term plans to establish a social enterprise restaurant. That
sounds fantastic. And in the meantime, it might just be around a barbecue or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, John and Rob. So just a couple of notes here for everybody. There's a request and interest in laptops or computers. We have the bike safety workshop coming up, and some supplies for that would be helpful. And the English conversation piece is there, and we'll just talk more about that when that becomes an option. John, we might touch base in a week or two and just see how things are progressing. I would like to know if there's continued food shortages. So if you can please keep us up to date with that, that would be appreciated. And I'll just open it up to all of the other members if you have any questions from the guys from Dara.
I've got one, Matt. Just John and Rob, do you have access to a commercial kitchen?
Funny you should say that. So the Dara Food Service has just actually got access as of yesterday to the Newcastle Council Museum. And then within the Catholic Diocese, we do have access to the one of the diocese to prepare meals. And we're also developing one out at the Killabin Bay Parish. So in terms of social enterprise, it'd be a hope to try and get a more commercial retail space. But in terms of kitchens, that's where we operate, John. And we also do some partnership with bands up in the valley at Raymond Terrace and Murray.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Why do you ask that, Steve?
Well, because when we've gone away on Matt's done retreats over the years, and when we've gone away, the people who've gone away on these retreats, a real enjoyable part of it is actually everyone in the kitchen cooking meals. And my thinking is, and this will, I'll take to management, but my thinking is that could Collective Heart purchase a heap of produce, and then the members get together in a kitchen and just cook up a storm and you know, offer more pre-prepared meals or frozen meals that possibly can be frozen to your community, John. That's what I've gone through my mind, but there's a bit of process to go through that. But I know it'll be a fun experience. It'll be a heartwarming experience, and I know Julie Christie's not on at the moment, but I'm sure she'd be happy to get involved and help champion that as well. So anyhow, just a thought for future, Matt.
Yeah.
I
love it.
Oh, there's Jules.
Yep.
Oh, there she is. Hello, Jules.
Good stuff.
I just dodged in, sorry.
So Rob Dawson here. So certainly Baden Ellis, who runs we call it our Dara food van, heads up and coordinates that. And a lot of those meals are obviously prepared by the core group. So and depending where it is, so Killabin Bay, and then this one, we've just picked up a grant for the food van stuff, hopefully from Newcastle Council. It's called Boost Our Community. So I think we've picked up a few $1,000s there to try and cover off and cater for the increase in requests for delivered pre-cooked meals.
Mm. Yeah, John, what we've done, Rob, what we've done in the past is looking at activities that the Collective Heart members can get involved with and make a difference and a contribution. And that's what I'm saying. If we could get access to a decent sized kitchen, it'd make it a lot easier for more members to get involved. And you know, I don't know, but it wouldn't be too much financial cost in produce and so forth. It's more in the making and the, you know, I guess the love that the Collective Heart can give to others is through food there. So, and I think it sounds like it's going to serve a need on your end and also on ours.
Certainly. So if you go through John, he can link you up with Baden, who coordinates all that aspect of it.
Yeah, that sounds good. So what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit about that with the leadership and teams with Collective Heart, and then we'll communicate that through our membership. And we would need to see a little bit more easing of restrictions in terms of coming together, but we can certainly put that as one of our dreams.
Thanks.
Any other questions from our members or guests? Other guests are welcome.
If you want to speak, just unmute yourself.
No, that's a wrap. Okay.
Just before we finish, I just want to say thank you guys. Thanks to the leadership of Collective Hearts. You guys have actually impacted the lives of the vulnerable people that we support. We want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome, John. I'm pleased there's people like yourself and Rob out there, you know, facilitating this.
Yeah.
It's really, you know, people come on hard times. Probably everyone in our group at some point in time have experienced some level of hardship, but you know, it's just lovely to know that sometimes there's a helping hand, and you need resources to be able to do that. We're aware of that. So, you know, all of us are reasonably busy with our commitments, but if we can all contribute, you know, and work together in some fashion, then hopefully we can make a very positive contribution to individuals and humanity. Both in our own streets, in our own communities, and more globally as well. All right, John, Rob, thank you for your contributions and your time this morning. You can hang around and listen to what else we have to cover off. We'll be wrapped up by about 8:30, I would think, guys.
I've got to head off, but thanks so much for your time, and thanks so much for your generous donation.
Good on you, Rob. Thank you, mate. Okay, so let's shift gears now over to the sleep out for soul at home. I've been probably more of a spectator on this than a key manager or facilitator, so I might hand this over to Jody. If you can let us know what's happening with this. I don't know how many details you want to go through.
Well, both Raz and I. I'll bring up some of the stuff we've been doing.
So maybe we should just clarify that the Sleep Out for Soul is the annual fundraising event that Soul Cafe do, and last year it raised about $150,000, so a pretty considerable sum of money, which enables Soul Cafe to do their work, which is really providing meals for people that are rough sleeping, but it also enables the delivery of the other services that come off the back of that. So that was about to not happen this year until a few people from Collective Heart said, well, maybe it can happen. So over to you, Jodes.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, I think it was Leah's idea to get this started. So yeah, big thanks to Leah, and also to Leslie, who's joined us today, a new Collective Heart member. So what the Sleep Out for Soul is going to be is sleep out at home, on your balcony, build a cubby in your bedroom. And from that, you have to register your family or your team. So it can be any type of team. It can be a sporting team, it can be a school. And from there you can get sponsorship. But we're going to reach out to the Collective Heart meeting members because we obviously need to spread the word. We're working with Rick and we're doing a lot of socials and things. But it'd be really good if people could, if I can send out some packs to people, if you could share it on your business pages, maybe put something in your EDM. I'll get Leslie to write something up that could go out in your newsletters to tell people about it. We've just got to get the momentum on it going. So to build awareness around Newcastle, I'll hopefully have access to Soul Cafe's Facebook page today. So then I'll be able to push even harder through that. The other thing we're looking for is on the night, we're trying to, obviously, because it's going to be a live event, we're going to have Rick talking live. We're probably going to try and get one of the Screaming Jets to sing live. We're also going to have competitions like best get your kids to dress up, best campsite. So we're looking for some prizes to be donated. Like I've already got something from the Food Collective, so things like that we can just give away. It doesn't have to be big prizes, vouchers that we're able to encourage people to just be there and participate on the night, because generally with the Sleep Out, that is when they get their biggest sponsorship through. And also, if anybody wants to help out just with the organisation, I'd love some help, because homeschooling and everything else that's going on, it would be really great. What else is there?
I mean, we're looking for ideas of who we can reach out to. So we've actually been recently contacted by the Newcastle Knights, so we've been in contact with them to see how they can help. We've got ideas about trying to speak to is it Andy, who's a Master Chef winner, and he's from Newcastle, and it's because it's a food related thing, we're hoping that he might be able to jump on board. But if anyone's got any ideas or contacts that we might be able to connect with and ask them to share the event, that would be awesome. We might be looking at also doing short videos that we can use on socials to say that they're in support of this event and support for Soul. So it's ideas and action will be really, really helpful from everybody if we can.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can see my screen. We've added a page on the Collective Heart website, that can tell people more about it. Leslie's done all the copy around that, and it tells the purpose of why we're doing this. And it also has got a video there, if you haven't watched it, the interview with Matt and Rick about the purpose behind the Sleep Out. Also, there's tiles on there you can download if you're able to share. Also, there's the Facebook event, and for anybody who's on social media, oh, that's my personal post popping up there. Anyone who's on social media, it'd be really great if you could come in here and click on the share button, share it to your business, share it to your personal page, and just to help us get more coverage in Newcastle. We have boosted the post, so since then we are getting more interest, but yeah, any help would be greatly appreciated.
And can you take a couple of moments just to explain how people would register if they want to participate?
Yeah, sure, Matt. Yes, you can click on it from here, go to your tickets. The registration process, unfortunately, we're using a system called Grassroots, which belongs to Soul. So the money goes straight out to them. So first, I don't know if we want to do a Collective Heart team, Matt, but if we can, I can set that up for you. I'm waiting for them to put some instructions here, Soul, for me to do that. But if you wanted to do a team, you push fundraiser here and you set up a team, and then anybody then can join your team. You can also then purchase a ticket, which is your individual ticket, and it's free to register, or you can pay a donation as you register. And if you don't want to sleep out, Trevor, you can also give now. But if we had a Collective Heart team, we obviously don't sleep as a team. Steve will be sleeping on his balcony. I'll probably be sitting right here at my desk. But yeah, so we can do it that way. Does that make sense, Matt? But if anybody wants to get a team together, also for the parents out there, Lainey, we want to get into schools. That would be really good to get contacts into schools. Oh, Craig.
Yeah. So on our website, if you're not a Facebooker, on our website there are the instructions on how to register. I followed those instructions through and was successful. So I think if I can, or most other people will be able to do it. But if you get stuck, you can give myself or Jody a call. In terms of a Collective Heart team, I'm just wondering if I just put our family in as a team. Perhaps they might have a little bit more legs this year. We can say, you could always say you're a member of Collective Heart, but I'm happy for people to make comments around, or make their suggestions around that. Can I just say thank you guys?
Yeah, good call.
You've done a massive amount of work to bring this together, and I think the question was, is there a fundraising target? Look, I think that whatever we come up with is a bonus.
Currently put 25,000 on the website, but we're hoping for more than that. Yeah.
Okay. Righto. So you had a couple of questions or a couple of comments there. You said, Jody, that you could do with a little bit of help.
Yes.
What with?
Well, Leslie's doing a lot of writing with me. I don't know if anybody's got experience with helping with social media. That would be really quite great. That's probably one area that would be really good to do some strategies around. It's just spending time on the computer, really, getting that message out there.
Okay. So social media marketing sort of space.
And I suppose also, if anybody's got contacts for prizes, like prizes could be...
We're thinking mostly voucher-based type, or because it's something that they can win the prize, but they can just be emailed to them. It might be a millionaire restaurant, which might not be able to take place for 6 months or so. But if anyone's got, it's just more about our collective contacts. I think that reach will be really, really good.
Yeah, and also kid-focused prizes. If there's somebody who's got a contact with a toy shop, we could get a voucher there. They don't have to be big. It's just things that we could give out on the night.
And we're thinking prizes for things like best dress up, best camp, if they've made a tent in the garden or fancy with lights and so on or something. Trying to do an auction, I think.
If we get a big prize, we'll do an auction.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
we'll
that
see how that goes.
Andy Allen from MasterChef, I'm trying to contact him. I know you don't know who he is, Matt, but yeah, I'm trying to contact him to see if he can donate something, because that'd be awesome. And I forgot to mention, Leah's also looking at doing, and we're going to do menu ideas for the night. That's going to be going out on the Facebook as well. So yeah, just if anybody's got any contacts, that would be great for the prizes. That's the main thing. If anybody would like to help me with socials, that would be good. Yeah, and
just generally getting the word out there.
Just generally getting the word out there. I think once I get access to Soul Cafe's Facebook, that would be awesome, because they've got 4,500 followers compared to our 300. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of promoting this, you're thinking that getting some famous people kind of behind it would be helpful? Is that what you're saying with, I don't know, like, I think you said one of the fellas from the Screaming Jets, or this guy on MasterChef. I don't watch MasterChef. I'm writing the Lego Masters at the moment. So I don't know if you could get Hamish.
If you can get whoever he is.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's just really if we can get videos of high profile people, hopefully with a Newcastle background, to talk about it, so we can just spread the word a little bit more, and just to get more coverage. Just said, we've been talking to the Knights, because some of the Knights want graphic design training. So we're talking to some of them at the moment to try and get to them. And I think Leslie's got a contact with the Screaming Jets. Oh, she's muted.
Yeah, you're on mute, Leslie.
I was going to suggest, if you're talking to the Knights, maybe you can get a signed jersey or something that you can auction off as well.
That's a great idea, Diane.
Yeah, that's a good idea, yeah.
I was also going to suggest that if you are looking for a commercial kitchen, the West Group, who own the Knights, they're shut. They're a not-for-profit organisation. They may be eligible for JobKeeper, which means that they're paying their people who are stood down to do nothing. They may even be able to, organise to open up a kitchen and have some staff come in and do some cooking and get behind it. I've been talking to the HR manager there. I might reach out to him and see if I can see whether there's any possibility of that, if you are interested in the access to the commercial kitchen. I'm certainly happy to share it through our social media, and I've got a marketing and comms team. They're pretty busy, but I'll see if they've got any capacity to help as well. But we're certainly happy to share it on all our social media, and I'll promote it within our staff as well.
Thanks, Brian. I'll get in contact with you after this. That'd be really great. And I'll let Steve talk about the commercial kitchen with you.
Okay.
Just from my side, just an update. Reached out to Grant Walmsley, haven't heard anything back, and same with Reese Hignall, another master chef. Haven't heard anything back from him yet either, but I'll keep pursuing that. Kaz, the performance segment of Atwea, said they've got one of their performers who might be willing to do a little bit of a video or something. So that might be something for the night, but I'll keep seeing what else down that channel.
Thanks, Leslie. Yeah, so that's where we're at, Matt.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Well, I appreciate all the work. What we might do is we'll take some of these conversations offline, so you can just sort of get a little bit more focused one-to-one. But I will send out an email with a list of the things that we're looking for some support with. So there's probably two parts to this. One part is you deciding if you want to participate on the night and in what capacity, and if you want to do that, to get in there and register so we can start to see some volume behind it. And the second half of it is really support around the promotion of the event. And I know I speak to Rick and Sue periodically. They're very, very grateful for the efforts that Collective Heart are making to support them with this event. And let's face it, you don't have to be, this is a really interesting aspect of this, you don't have to be based in Newcastle to participate.
No, you can be anywhere. Matt, I can send you a pack of stuff that you can send out to people, which will include Facebook trials and
Yeah.
copy for their EDM that if they just want to add it to their EDM.
I'm not quite sure what that means, but we can send that out.
The electronic newsletter that's going to go out. So yeah,
Okay.
maybe add a bit. Sorry, I should have said yeah.
And Diane.
So have you also added it to the local council's list of activities and things that are coming up? They have like a page promoting all the events and things that are happening.
I actually Facebooked them yesterday, and I need to fill in a form on their website.
Yeah,
Yes,
so Macquarie Council, they would all have the pages where they then promote it for you.
Yeah.
And
also, I've got a friend who works at he works at ABC.
Yeah, I've been in contact with Southern Cross Media. I've got a friend at Southern Cross Media.
So we're going to try and get on, possibly maybe Rick and Jody on the radio would be good. We could do that.
Yeah. And I've got contacts at 2NUR, and Newcastle Weekly said they'll run something, but I'll get a media release put together to go out more broadly than that.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So any help, everybody's got my email. If you don't, get it off Matt. Phone number, just call me.
Good job. Good job. We might wrap that part of the conversation up there. As you can see, there's lots of bits and pieces to bring together to make this work. So if you can contribute in some way, let us know. It would be fantastic. And at the very minimum, I think that, you know, participating or contributing or spreading the word at some level would be appreciated. But if you have contacts, let's draw upon them.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Good on you, Jody, Leslie, everyone who's contributed to that. So next item is Malapai Food Drop. So Malapai, for those of you who don't know, is a livelihood centre up in the Philippines. We've supported Malapai in different ways over the years, and one of the more recent things that we've done is contributed a couple of scholarships to get a couple of kids through their later schooling and university. At present, my understanding, and Trevor, if you want to add to this, or Rose, you're welcome to, is that food is pretty scarce or hard to access at the moment in the areas of the Philippines that we have our relationships. So what's been organised are food drops, where similar to what the guys at Dara are doing, is the food packages are being put together and then they're actually being distributed through relationships to the families that we're supporting. There was one food drop which was executed last week. My understanding is it looks like there's probably going to be the need for at least 2 more food drops in coming weeks. The cost of a food drop per family is $25 for the basic pack, and then an additional $40 for another 25 kilograms of rice. So my suggestion is collective heart funds 2 further food drops for the 2 families of the kids that we've sponsored through the scholarships. I'll send this out to the whole group. So if you have any concerns or support, or you have curiosity around that, you can send your questions through. And in a month's time, at our next breakfast, we'll be talking with Trevor and or Rose to find out a little bit more information of what's going on in that region of the Philippines. Because I know a lot of people have some pretty close relationships up there, and sometimes it's hard to know exactly what's going on. So Trevor, Rose, would you like to quickly add anything to that?
Well, the reason it's critical at the moment is in the Philippines, in the area that we work in particular, it's extreme lockdown. Like, they're not even allowed to leave their homes, and consequently they've lost employment, and it's just an extreme situation where some of them in some areas just can't get food or fresh water at all. And because it's a corrupt government, the government has put out various food packages, but they've been taken by officials and whatever. So, you know, it's the usual story. So because it got extreme, we decided we needed to move quickly So we've been getting these food packages out and using whatever means we can to get them distributed, because some of the areas we can't get into because they've been completely shut off. So we've been using telephone technicians who've got access because they've got to get in there. They're taking packages in for us. We've used government officials to take packages in for us. We've done everything that we can to make sure that every one of our 62 students and their families have been given food by some kind of distribution. So we'll be doing that again this week and again next week. And hopefully they're going to lighten the load a little bit of the restrictions they've put on the community so that people can actually get out and get food.
Okay. So we have funds there. It certainly isn't, it will go far from breaking the bank in terms of issuing those funds, but I will send out a note for transparency and to invite any quick questions that you have about it. I'll endeavour to send that out today, so we can move pretty quickly should that be accepted and approved across the membership. And as mentioned, next month we'll spend a bit more time learning about what's happening up in that part of the Philippines. All right, next. Thanks, Trevor. Rose.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks everybody too. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Keep going, Jody. Next one. So the next Collective Heart Breakfast is on the first Tuesday of June. There was talk earlier this year that we'll just be running once every second month, but given what's going on in the community, both locally and globally, we've decided to stay or to step it up a little bit and be connecting once a month. There's a lot of needs at the moment, and talking more regularly compared to less regularly we felt was important. So that's on the first Tuesday of June. It's really important, if you haven't done this, is that you register on the Collective Heart website to make sure you receive the email, which enables you to register for the breakfast. Okay, so 7 a.m. through to about 8:30. The Sleep Out for Soul, that would have already happened, right? You're on mute, Jodes.
Yeah, that's on the 29th of May.
Right, so we'll be recapping. I might even see if Rick or Sue's available to talk to us on that day as well, and we'll catch up with yourself, Trevor, about Malapai. Next slide, please, Jody. So just another announcement. There was a proposal to have a member-only Zoom-type catch-up, no guest speakers. It's just, hi, how you going? Just a general kind of conversation. So it's a bit different to this meeting, and we're going to try it out. You're not obliged to participate. Well, with Collective Heart, you're pretty not obliged to do anything. So maybe pay your monthly membership fee. That's good. That gives us something to work with. But on Tuesday the 19th, it's the same time as today in 2 weeks, and it's just a general catch-up. It's member only. We're not doing anything, you know, we're already pretty stretched actually in terms of what our commitments outside of what we've already have scheduled. So it'll just be turning up, and I'll facilitate a bit of a conversation amongst all of us. And it might be half an hour and it's all finished, or we might get chatting and it'll be tricky to wind it up at 8:30. We'll see, but it's a proposal, and if you'd like to connect, I encourage you to join in with that. And I think, what's the next slide there, Jade? Oh, just some visitor information. So there's so Leslie Peters, have you decided to join, have you?
I'm not sure. Have I signed up yet? I can't remember. Yeah, I want to join.
Okay, all right, fantastic. Well, welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I can sort that out with you, Leslie. I'm sure we'll be talking later today.
Yeah.
Well, once you tell me that you're going to join, it's very hard for you to back out of that.
I think I actually volunteered, Leslie, there, Matt.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure John Sandy, I think you've mentioned that to me as well. So you have to unmute yourself, mate. You're on mute, John. We can't hear you.
I've just unmuted him.
Okay. Oh, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I would like to join. Yep, I've expressed my interest to be part of this group.
Yeah, and Diane, I was talking to you last week and you expressed your interest as well.
Yes, I'd love to join too, thank you.
There we go, 3 new members, wonderful.
Pressure there.
No, nothing like getting confirmation in front of an audience.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's $39 per month.
Sorry,
Yep.
And we were having monthly breakfast up at Soul Cafe. We'll just keep an eye on when we can sort of resume those sorts of things. And coming together and connecting is something which is really important to us. At least we can use something like this platform to enable that at this point in time. And I guess the Sleep Out for Soul is going to be a nice way to do this if it is virtually. And I'm rather quite buoyed by your ideas, Steve, of maybe turning up in the kitchen once and producing some meals that we can send out to some people that would appreciate that. So there's lots of things, as we can see, in the pipeline. So we'll keep chipping away at those in the coming months. All right, any final questions or comments from anyone this morning? If not, we'll wrap today up. I will send out an email. There's actually a pretty long list of things off the back of today. So I'll send out an email to follow up this morning. Any questions, any comments? We done?
everybody's unmuted, I think, so.
Righto, well, that's a wrap. Thank you for your contributions.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. I'll talk to you later, Leslie.
Yes, I've got a couple of questions. Okay.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.
Hi, Jodie. How you going?
Oh, hello, how are you?
Good, good. I have a couple of things. I might just email you a bit later, but things like that media release, I've got a few ideas of places to contact, and we know the editor of the Herald. He might.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just yeah. The kids.
Today?
I am. Yes, I'm working. I'm online working until about 2. From now until 2. Just sort of school hours, and then I'm free after that. And I mean, you know, and I can chat. Well,
I was just thinking whether to.
Should we have a chat this afternoon with Leslie and all of us together? Do you think?
Just bear with me for 2 secs.
Just let me know if there's anything. I mean, I don't know what I can do. That's the thing. But
no, sorry. I'm just removing the other people from the meeting.
Oh, okay. No worries. You guys have done an amazing job. It's all just come together so quickly.
Oh, it's been, yeah.
I know it hasn't from your end. I'm sure it feels like it's been 10 years worth of work.
Yeah, no, so what I was thinking is, do you want to? No, I can't get Rob out. Anyway, he can listen. It's not as though. Yeah. What about I see? So if you're free after 2, what about I see if I can get Leslie on a Zoom, the 3 of us?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. That'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I've got to take CRAD at some stage, but we could probably catch up about 2:30.
Yeah, and look, after that, I'm not going anywhere. So,
Okay, that sounds good.
Even if it's later tonight, you know, whatever suits.
Cool. Okay, well, we'll work it out because Raz's got to run to the Cairo. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Any ideas? Yeah, because there is a lot to do, and I just got to get that word out there. And
And ideas of like sharing it on others, you know, Facebook pages and that. Just for me, do I just contact those people? I just have those sort of questions, or do we send them, like you said, a pack where they can put the banner up?
And I've now got the marketing email address at Collective Heart set up too. But if we all get together this afternoon, Leslie can write something. Oh, Rob's finally gone. He was sick of it.
He didn't want to hear anymore.
Yeah, if we can get a pack and she's got something that you could add to your EDM and everything like that.
The main thing is just like as much exposure as possible.
Exposure. That's what I know.
Because I think sometimes, I mean, Facebook's fine, but if you're not on Facebook or you just don't see, you're not necessarily going to see the event because of the Collective Heart page. It's because Facebook doesn't show many people.
No, that's right.
And that's getting a little bit of traction, but the more that we'll see it in different places, the better.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When it's coming, so I'll try and get in touch with Emma today as well. So she's got a massive following, and a lot of local people as well. So, you know, it's just more of those people that have got that big, you know, 12,000 followers or whatever that can.
I saw you mentioned something yesterday on Basecamp, Leah. Was that?
That was it. Yeah. So they're friends with Matt and Deb, but I don't know that Matt realises exactly what Em does and the reach she might have. So
yeah, I mean, that'd be great.
Yeah. And she, like I said, she volunteers up there. So
yeah, fantastic. I mean, I think it's getting the word out there, but we actually want people to take part as well. That's right. Yeah. I think maybe if people see more people taking part, then people were more interested in taking part. I think that's right. I'm interested.
Yeah. Have a look at how much interest we've got.
Yeah, interest compared to actually going, okay, look, let's get friends on board that, you know, we're all going to do this on the night and follow the event.
We've got 97 interested at the moment, 22 going. So
you know, it's 3 weeks away, and people.
It is,
free. It's not like they're fitting it in, but
that's right. And I think it's once we actually get more stuff up that's actually happening on the night and more of that interest. So when people log in, they go, "Oh, yeah, I'm interested in that." You know, I think it's still early days, isn't it? Like, you know, and we know that everything always comes together in that last week anyway.
Yeah.
But it's getting all this stuff in the meantime up and running so that in that last week there's loads of content there to share, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'll talk to Leslie. Raz has got to run, and I better go feed my child. But yeah, I'll see when Leslie's free.
Yep. All right. No worries. We'll chat later.
Yeah, we'll chat later.
All right. Thanks, Jodie. Bye. Thanks, Raz. See ya.